In this video, I want to teach you something called heart coherence. And for the first couple of minutes, I'm going to keep it really simple. Then, if you want to stick around, we're going to go into the deeper science, the heart rate variability, the vagus nerve, the nervous system, the brain in the heart, the brain in the gut, and why ancient breathing practices may have been pointing towards something that modern science can now measure. But the simple version is this: your heart does not beat like a metronome. A healthy heart is not perfectly steady. Your heart is constantly speeding up and slowing down in tiny little ways, beat by beat, moment by moment. That change from one heartbeat to the next is called heart rate variability. Or a lot of times you see it just abbreviated as HRV. And your HRV gives us a window into how adaptable your nervous system is. When you're stressed out, you're guarded and anxious and overwhelmed and angry, or you're just like stuck in survival mode, your heart rhythm often becomes chaotic, way more chaotic than it was. Your breathing gets shallow, your muscles brace, your brain starts scanning for danger, your body starts acting like it's not completely safe. But when you slow your breathing down, especially into a rhythm of about 5 seconds in and 5 seconds out, something very interesting happens. Your heart rhythm begins to smooth out. Instead of looking jagged and scattered, it starts to look more like a smooth wave. The smooth wave like rhythm is what we call heart coherence. And the important thing is this: heart coherence is not just relaxation. It's not just positive thinking. It is a measurable state where the heart, breath, brain, and nervous system begin communicating in a more organized way. It is like your body starts playing in rhythm with itself again. And when your body is in rhythm with itself, it has a better chance of healing, adapting, thinking clearly, regulating emotions, and responding to life instead of just reacting to it. The simplest way to practice is this: put your attention in the center of your chest. Breathe slowly, about 5 seconds in, about 5 seconds out. And while you breathe, bring up a feeling that is easy to access: gratitude, appreciation, love, peace, and joy, relief. It doesn't have to be dramatic. You don't have to fake happiness. You're simply giving your nervous system a different signal. You're saying to the body, we are safe enough right now. And when the body receives that signal consistently, it can start building a new baseline. And that's the simple version. So let's get into the deeper science of why this works. All right, HRV, your heart is not supposed to be perfectly regular. The first big idea is that a healthy heart is variable. Most people assume a healthy heartbeat should be perfectly even. Beat, 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 beat. But that's not how a healthy nervous system actually works. A healthy system is adaptable. When you inhale, your heart naturally speeds up a little bit. And when you exhale, your heart naturally slows down a little bit. That rise and fall is part of heart rate variability. So HRV is not just about the heart, it's about the relationship between the heart, the breath, the brain, and the autonomic nervous system. The autonomic system, it's the part of your nervous system that runs the background programs: heart rate, breathing, digestion, blood pressure, immune response, hormones, pupil dilation, sweating, muscle tone, and the basic survival responses of fight or flight and freeze and recovery. It's all autonomic. So when we measure HRV, we're not just measuring fitness. We're getting a glimpse into regulatory capacity. How well can your body shift gears? Can it respond to stress? Can it recover from stress? Can it calm down after the threat is gone? Can it move from protection back into healing? That is why HRV matters. Section 2, coherence, when the body starts playing in rhythm. So heart coherence is a specific pattern inside of heart rate variability. It's not just high HRV, it is an organized HRV pattern. The easiest way to picture it is this. In stress, the heart rhythm can look jagged and irregular. In coherence, the heart rhythm starts to look like a smooth wave. That smooth wave tells us that the body is organizing itself. The breath is influencing the heart. The heart is sending a clearer signal back to the brain. The nervous system is shifting toward regulation. This is why I like the word coherence. Coherence means the parts are communicating. They're not fighting each other. They're not sending mixed signals. The body starts acting less like a room full of people arguing and more like a choir singing the same song. Now, let's get nerdy. When you breathe 5 seconds in and 5 seconds out, that creates a 10-second breath cycle. 10 seconds per breath equals about 6 breaths per minute. Okay? That rhythm lines up with a natural resonance frequency in the cardiovascular system. In HeartMath language, that is often described around 0.1 hertz. That basically means one cycle every 10 seconds. At this rhythm, the breathing system, heart rhythm, blood pressure regulation, and the baroreflex system can begin to synchronize. The baroreflex is one of the body's pressure regulation systems. You've got pressure sensors all around called baroreceptors that help your body monitor blood pressure and cardiovascular rate. Just as a fun aside, too, you have one of these receptors right here at this giant artery in your neck called the carotid artery. It's a reflex. So if you were to ever just put a little pressure on it and tug out to the side, not much, just like you might put on your eyeball here, but just a little bit of tug here, you're mimicking a stretch receptor. You're mimicking the blood pressure going up and stretching the blood vessel. And so as a reflex, the brain will instantly lower the heart rate and the blood pressure as well. So it's just an example of how baroreceptors work. We have some other fun ones like in our eyeballs here too. If you were to go underwater and you'd have to hold your breath, you can't get new oxygen. So the reflex is when you have pressure on your eyeball, mimicking water pressure pushing on the eyelid, you immediately lower the heart rate and pressure to reduce the demand on oxygen so that you can preserve your oxygen for longer. So just a fun aside, it's a cool reflex that we have in our body that's going to be looking for pressure. And so when we talk about baroreceptors, we're talking about blood pressure. And these cool receptors are just little reflexes in there that allow a check and balance. So if the blood pressure gets too high, the baroreceptor will stretch and tell the brain to lower the heart rate and the blood pressure. But back to the topic here, when you breathe slowly, the heart rate rises and falls with the breath. Okay, so the pressure system is just going to respond to how the breathing is. This is when the vagus nerve gets involved, and the whole thing can begin to oscillate in a more organized pattern. That is why this is not just take a deep breath and calm down. There's an actual rhythm to this. The vagus nerve is one of the main communication highways between the body and the brain. A lot of people think that the brain just spins, that it sends commands. A lot of people think it's just telling the body what to do. But a huge amount of information is also traveling up from the body to the brain. The heart is sending information. The lungs are sending information. The gut is sending information. The immune system is too. The body's constantly telling the brain, here is where we are. Here is how much energy we have. Here is whether we need protection or repair. So when you change the breath and your heart rhythm, you're not just calming yourself psychologically. You are changing the information being sent upward into the brain. That can influence emotional processing, attention, perception, and the ability to self regulate. The heart is obviously a pump, but it's not only a pump. The heart has its own intrinsic nervous system. You can think of it as a smaller neural network in and around the heart. That heart nervous system processes information and communicates with the brain. So when people say, listen to your heart, that may sound poetic, but there's also a physiological reality underneath that. The heart is part of the information processing system of the body. It is involved in rhythm, it is involved in pressure, involved in hormones, and it is involved in emotional state. It is involved in the signals being sent up to the brain. So, heart coherence is not just a cute phrase, it is about organizing one of the most powerful rhythm generating systems in the body. One of the most helpful ways to visualize this is to think about the three centers of intelligence. You have a brain in your head, you have neural network in the heart tissue, and you have neural network in the gut tissue as well. Now, we don't want to take that too literally and say that the heart thinks the same way that your brain thinks, or the gut the same way your brain thinks. That's not really the point. The point is that these are major information processing centers. The head is involved in thought, planning, language, memory, meaning, consciousness, awareness, all that. The heart is deeply involved in rhythm, emotion, safety, connection, and regulation. The gut is deeply involved in digestion, immune signaling, instinct, internal state, and the gut brain axis, referring to how a lot of the neurotransmitters in the brain are actually built in the gut. And these systems, they all talk to each other constantly. So when you're anxious, your gut may tighten. When you're grieving, you may feel it in your chest. When you're afraid, your breathing changes. When you're safe with someone you love, your whole body softens. That's not imaginary. That is your physiology. Your emotional life is not just in your head, it is distributed throughout the body. So, this is where I think ancient wisdom and modern science start shaking hands. For thousands of years, traditions all over the world have used breathing to influence the body. Prayer, meditation, chanting, breath work, mantra, singing, slow rhythmic breathing. People may have not had HRV monitors. They may not have been talking about the vagus nerve or baroreflex resonance, but they understood something practical. The breath is a doorway. It is one of the few systems in the body that is both automatic and under conscious control. You do not have to think about breathing all day. Your body does it for you. But at any moment, you can just choose to change it. That makes breath a bridge between the conscious and the unconscious body, the conscious mind and the unconscious body. When you change the breath, you can influence that unconscious body by influencing the nervous system. And when you influence the nervous system, you can influence the state the body is living in. Now, here is the really important point. You can get benefits from slow breathing by itself. 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out, it's powerful. But HeartMath also emphasizes the emotional component of coherence. The idea is not just to breathe mechanically, the idea is to combine slow breathing with a regenerative emotional state. Gratitude, appreciation, care, love, compassion. This matters because emotion changes physiology. If you breathe slowly, but your mind is replaying resentment or fear or frustration, traffic, you may not get the shift you're looking for. But when you breathe slowly and you activate a sincere, positive feeling, the signal changes. The heart rhythm changes. The body receives a different message. This is why I don't describe this as a forced positivity. You're not pretending. You don't have to pretend everything is fine. You are practicing emotional self regulation. You are learning how to choose a state on purpose. So, if you want to practice this stuff, you do not need a device to practice heart coherence. A device can be helpful because it gives you feedback. It lets you see whether your heart rhythm is becoming more coherent, kind of like keeping score. And that can be motivating. It can also help you learn what coherence feels like. But the device is not the medicine. It's not the cure. The practice is the medicine. So here is the basic version. Sit comfortably, place your tension in your heart area. Breathe out for about 5 seconds, in for 5 seconds, making the breath smooth and easy. Don't force it. Then, in fact, when I say don't force it, it means that you're not trying to take a full breath and in and a full breath out. You're just doing what feels smooth and easy. You're just letting the body breathe itself in the way that it wants to. Then you're going to bring a feeling of appreciation or gratitude or peace or relief. You're going to bring one of those into your mind and hold that feeling. Hold it gently with you while you breathe. Practice this for 3 to 5 minutes. That's enough to start. If 5 seconds feels too long, do it for 4 seconds in and 4 seconds out. If you feel hungry for more air, then just soften the breath. Make it easy. This is not a contest. The goal is not maximal breathing. The goal is rhythmic breathing, smooth breathing, safe breathing, breathing that tells your body we can settle down. Use this when you're stressed. Use it before bed. Use it before a hard conversation. Use it before you check your blood pressure. Use it before you make an important decision. Use it after an argument. Use it when your body feels tight and braced. When you notice your shoulders are up here around your ears. You use it when your thoughts are looping and spinning. You use it when you do not feel like yourself. And maybe most importantly, use it when nothing is wrong. Because the deeper goal is not just to rescue yourself from stress, the deeper goal is to build a new baseline. You are training the nervous system to recognize coherence as something familiar. And heart coherence is not magic. It can feel magical when you first experience it, because for many people, it may be the first time that they realize I can influence my internal state. I'm not stuck with whatever my nervous system is doing. I can participate. I could breathe in a way that changes the signal. I could practice a feeling that changes my body. I can help my heart and brain and breath and gut communicate in a more organized way. And when the body becomes more coherent, healing has a better environment to happen. That's just how it works.